Well, who would ever assume Pokemon's scary? I mean, not me, right? I mean, I certainly haven't kind of milked that topic of Pokemon for quite a bit. So, of course, welcome back, everyone. Yep, that is right. Now, originally, this was going to be creepy and mysterious places in Pokemon, Generations 7 through 9. As a Pokemon kind of screwed me over on that one. So, obviously, I'll be going through the series and choosing some select places that I find creepy or mysterious. Obviously, this might include spoilers for some of the games, so you have been warned. Obviously, I'll be starting with the I'll be starting with the Kanto region. My bad. So, of course, let's start. Obviously, we're starting with Lavender Town and Pokemon Tower. Yeah, pretty much this is the definitive creepy place in Pokemon. Lavender Town pretty much has captured our nightmares since 1996 and continues to do so. Lavender Town still remains one of the most iconic places in Pokemon. It's given birth to many creepypastas and even some theories. And, well, to this day, it still remains one of my favorite places in any Pokemon game. Of course, for my next pick, we of course are heading to the Sevii Islands. Now, the Sevii Islands were introduced in the Gen 3 games with, the Kanto remakes, but there was one place that was pretty interesting. Lost Cave. Lost Cave is, a cave pretty much where, you can get lost in it. That's pretty much how it's described. And it's always caught my attention as just being a really cool place. It's, of course, inhabited by ghost types in Murkrow, so I guess Murkrow is cool enough to hang out with ghost types. But, I don't know, just the thought of being lost in this cave is definitely creepy. And the game kind of makes it, slightly worse, as, the cave has a set pattern where you have to go into. If you take the wrong pattern, you end up at the beginning, making it kind of easy to get lost. Next up, you of course have a mysterious place with the Pokemon Mansion. We all know what the Pokemon Mansion is used for. It's pretty much, it's just Mewtwo. But the question is, what exactly else did happen at the Pokemon Mansion? That's kind of why it ends up on this list. We know that it created Mewtwo, but we don't know what else happened there. I mean, no one else is there left to tell. And it's kind of been overrun by Pokemon. And to this day, Pokemon Mansion kind of remains to be a very mysterious place. And of course, we will probably never get answers for it. Of course, we're moving to Gen 2 with, of course, the Burnt Tower. This is more mysterious, and this is due to a theory that revolves around the legendary hounds. As the theory goes, the night the fire happened, there's a theory that states that Raikou, Entei, and Suicune were of course made from 3 evolutions that perished during the fire. Obviously, no confirmation has ever been, confirmed, kind of leading to some speculation of what exactly the hounds were before. That's all I really have about Burnt Tower. Just want to add on this list because it doesn't seem like it gets too much recognition. Of course, next up we of course have Burnt Tower. Originally I had Mount Pyre on the list, but in retrospect, Mount Pyre is really not that creepy. I mean, it's a graveyard, it's not like haunted or anything. So, let's talk about the Old Chateau. The Old Chateau is pretty much an abandoned place in the Eterna Forest in the 4th gen Pokemon games. There's quite a few theories revolving around what happened, but, no confirmation about them. All we just know is that it's haunted, which kind of makes it perfect for this list, and is definitely one of the creepiest places. From 2 human ghosts to a statue that will glare at you, to a statue that will look at you when you are turned away. Not to mention the fact that you can also get a gang on this mansion if you have one of the Gen 3 games inserted, which is kind of cool. the old chateau has gone down as, well, kind of a creepy place. Because next up, we of course have Turnback Cave. So this is of course where Giratina resides. Yep, Giratina is a creepy Pokemon, and of course Turnback Cave is kind of creepy too. It's just, well, covered in fog, some ghost type Pokemon, and it's really, no one in the game mentions it. It's just up to the player to find it, which in my opinion definitely makes it a lot better than it already was. Of course, next up, we of course have the Members Only House. So this was a event place in Canalave City. If you ran into this place, you would of course fall asleep, have a nightmare, and fight Darkrai. Hence why it's on this list. Darkrai, well, it's kind of a Pokemon that gives you nightmares. And the Members Only House is a bit of an eerie place. Not to mention it gets more creepier as there's a dude who watches you while you're sleeping. Yeah, so that's kind of creepy. Of course, moving on to Gen 5, we of course have the Strange House. The Strange House first appeared in Black and White 2, and pretty much there's a story behind it. There's this girl who died. She was, if I recall correctly, haunted by nightmares by Darkrai, and was trying to find this Pokemon named Cresselia. Unfortunately, that never happened because apparently Abbott teleported her off the bridge. And it's kind of up to us to kind of finish what she started. The Strange House is definitely a really spooky place and is one of my favorite places in any Pokemon game. Of course, next up, we're heading to Kalos with Route 13. Route 13 doesn't really get really that much. Actually, that might not be Route 13. Okay, it's the route that leads you to the spooky house. You know, everyone who's played XY will remember the spooky house, about how cringe it was, but no one really talks about the route that led to the spooky house. You know, there's a ton of tombstones throughout the route, which, oh, a bit creepy. Not mentioned the swampy area. Definitely a very aesthetic, and it's definitely one of the more underrated places in Pokemon, as I haven't really heard anyone talk about it that much. Goes next up, we of course have Terminus Cave. Terminus Cave isn't really creepy until you look at its description. Apparently, the description stated that it closed down due to reports of a monster living in the cave. Sure, I mean, we know that's Zygarde, but I mean, before we knew about that, I mean, that's kind of creepy. Just the thought of, like, some random monster being in a cave, no one knows what it is, definitely adds a feeling of dread. And of course, the final pick on this list is, of course, the Lake of the Moon. Well, and Sun. Of course, we know what happens here. You get a Cosmog, but I personally wonder, what if there was something else that was planned for this place? Of course, this is more speculation than anything else, but the Lake of the Moon / Sun has always intrigued me, as no one really talked about it. It was always that place where you do get Cosmog, but it just always felt like there was something else planned for this. Of course, I could be wrong, and honestly, I'm willing to accept if I'm wrong, but I just wanted to add it on this list, as it's definitely one of the most underrated and kind of a mysterious place in Pokemon. Of course, wasn't expecting that to happen, so sorry about that. But these were some creepy / mysterious places in Pokemon. I wanted to cover some of the Gen 9 games, but they haven't really had any creepy or mysterious places, hence why it's one video. But, well, happy Halloween everyone. I'm hoping you enjoy it, and stay safe. I'll of course be back, well, next month with new videos, so stay tuned until then. Goodbye.